Alright, so as you guys can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be ranking the top 15 best mode awakenings in the game. Now, I'm going to be including Gen 3 Tail Spirits under this list, but I'm going to be including them into one individual ranking. Gen 2s and 1s, there's not really any point in ranking them on here, just because, you know, Gen 2 is only useful for the Baron mode, and Gen 1s are just straight up bad. By the way, guys, when I hit 300,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing the one chip challenge. So I will be doing the one chip challenge at 300k subs. I just wanted to, you know, let you guys know that I did the, you know, the super spicy pepper challenge at 200k. At 300k, we're going to be getting a little bit hotter with the one chip challenge. So make sure to like button, subscribe, guys. All right, guys. So coming in 15th place is going to be Captain Jokai mode. Now, Captain Jokai mode, all it has going for it is actually its stronger block. Now, the stronger block is pretty much almost like it is just straight up almost unbreakable, depending on like if someone uses some of the best block breakers in the game that just do like multiple hits to actually block break, they can actually get through your block, but Captain Jokai block is very close to being unbreakable in general. Not only that, but the actual abilities of Captain Jokai are ragdoll or, you know, hit stun abilities, and it does have buffed M1s, but the only reason people ever use Captain Jokai mode is for the block. Now, the only reason why Captain Jokai is going to be on this list is because it has a unique function when compared to the rest of them. The rest of them are just kind of like gimmick modes or whatever. When it comes to Captain Jokai, it actually has an actual use. Now, coming to 4th place is going to be the reworked Toad Spirits. Now, this is going to include Jeremaki and Naramaki Toad Spirit. As you guys can see, Jeremaki here, they turned his cloak black. I'm pretty sure that is actually different. Now, in general, these are really just, they're kind of mid overall. I mean, like, you can get mode back from the actual, like, throwable spec, but the mode increase is just so slow. The actual M1s of it are fine, and then you actually do get the raised block of it and stuff like that. And then the Z spec of them are okay as well. But ever since, you know, in general, I just feel like these abilities just kind of have been overshadowed by a lot of the new modes, especially Gen 3s are just kind of better versions of a lot of these now. Like, these were kind of like the tests for the new Gen 3s, if that makes sense. So they kind of just been overshadowed, and they weren't really amazing in the first place. Now, coming to 13th place is going to be the Heavenly Spirit. Now, the Heavenly Spirit is going to be a basic, you know, extending mode in general. Now, the actual other modes of Heavenly Spirit include a counter instead of an extender in general, but Heavenly Spirit is just an extender. I mean, there's not really much else to say other than that. Extenders are okay at the moment, and I mean, that's kind of all there is to say. Now, coming to 12th place is going to be Nimbus Fate First Mode. Now, Nimbus Fate Mode 3 is actually worse than Nimbus Fate Mode 1. Mode 1 does around, as you guys can see, it does like 80,000 damage with the burst. It's not the best thing in the game, but, you know, damage bursts, they are meta right now in general. So, I mean, like, when it comes down to it, Nimbus Fate is just better than some of the other mode awakenings. A lot of the mode awakenings in the game are honestly just pretty terrible, so you have to take what you can get, I guess. Now, coming to 11th place is going to be Demonic Gate Spirit. Now, this actually brings a lot of different, you know, this just gives a lot of versatility when it comes to Taijutsu build users. But if you're not going to be a Taijutsu main, do not use Demon Gate Spirit, because there are better versions of pretty much all of the abilities that Demon Gate Spirit has. Now, coming to 10th place, it could be Dune's Fate Mode 3. Now, Dune's Fate Mode 3 is better than the actual first mode because the weapon spec does way more damage for some reason. So as you guys can see, the weapon spec does 95,000 damage, and it's an auto-tracking block breaking move. That's just good on its own. The Z spec really isn't that great, but you can use it to, you know, start combos if you can actually catch them off guard. But people mostly use Dune's Fate Mode 3 for that, you know, insanely good weapon spec. Now, coming in 9th place is going to be Jinshiki God Awakening. Now, Jinshiki God Awakening here is actually a pretty good mode in general, mostly because you get like an insanely long iframe ability on your actual Z spec that does charge up a super large damage attack. Now, the actual iframes are significantly better than the damage attack because the damage attack is really easy to avoid in general. You also get a lot of, you know, abilities that either allow you to do tons of damage or extend stuff. So, I mean, like, Jinshiki God Awakening is mainly only good for its iframe, though. Now, coming in 8th place is going to be the Shock Cloak. Now, Shock Cloak should be here for a very obvious reason. It gives you insanely high stats when it comes to damage and chi. Also the Z spec of it is pretty okay. It's pretty much just a teleport, you know, 60k damage move that does actually ragdoll. It's just a pretty okay move in general. People mostly use Shock Cloak for the stats, though. It also makes you really fast like Sonic. Well, it used to. Now, coming to 7th place is going to be Vapor Ender Spirit and Bat Curse Spirit, but I'm only going to be showing you Vapor Ender Spirit. Bat Curse Spirit is just a bunch of super basic extending moves. There's not really much to show about it. When it comes to Vapor Ender Spirit, it's a little bit more interesting because the actual Z spec is like Demonic Spirit, but it's a place lock stun. Now, this mode is actually pretty good in duels specifically, because in duels you're usually close together, so you can immediately get the Z spec off, and then you get a free combo on them basically. But outside of duels, it's really just kind of, you know, hit or miss. Now, coming to 6th place is going to be Demonic Spirit. Now, Demonic Spirit's going to be on this list. Yeah, I mean, this should be for a very obvious reason. It's one of the single best, just very easy to use Z spec stuns in the game game at the moment. Now, obviously, there are bloodline modes in the game that now do Z-Spec stuns, but when it comes to Demonic Spirit, it's just kind of a bread and butter stun. You still see a lot of people use Demonic Spirit, especially in duels, just because it's a large AoE ability. It's very, very easy to hit. It's instant, and it's just a really, really good ability in general. Now, coming in 5th place, it could be Mastered Rabbit Spirit. Now, Mastered Rabbit Spirit has kind of just been good for a little while now. People haven't really started using it that much until recently, though. But pretty much the Z-Spec is just a free extending move that does a ton of damage to people. It's just a really okay move in general, just for extending and damage, and it's really hard to get hit while using the move. It's also on a decently low cooldown. Now, one of my personal favorite modes is going to be coming in 4th place with the Cobra. It's the rework of Cobra Spirit. Now, first of all, this is just a really, really cool mode in general. Like, you get a giant snake to ride on and stuff like that. The actual throwable is Snake Man. It's the Snake Man throwable. I mean, it's a little bit worse, the Snake Man throwable, because you actually do, it does get replaced with a arguably worse throwable after, like, you use two times. But it is the Snake Man throwable. So, you know, there's that. You guys know how good the Snake Man throwable is. The weapon spec is pretty much, you know, just the same summon as the other Toad Spirits. Like I said, these were just kind of like the testing grounds for the Gen 3s. It's kind of what they tested it with. And then the actual Z spec of it, it's just a basic extender, you know, that does poison damage afterwards. So, I mean, like, the reworked Snake is a very, very cool mode in general, and it's actually pretty good as well with this throwable ability. Now, coming to 3rd place is going to be Akuma Eternal Hand. Now, Akuma Eternal Hand is just a very solid pick in general. Now, even though the mode drain was increased by a whole 10 mode, literally... a whole 10 mode, it was increased by, or 15 mode, it was increased by. While that may seem like a large margin, you still get that second life, you still get a free counter off the Z spec, and it's still just a really, really good sub ability mode. It just isn't as good as what it was before, because it drains, you know, a bit more mode than what it did before. Now, coming to 2nd place, it could be reworked Snail Awakening. Now, reworked Snail Awakening, you see this used in a lot of different 1v1s, mostly because it's like the M1s are ranged, so you can cancel people's hand signs really easily. The actual throwable of it is just free HP regen. It's basically just, the throwable is just free regen all across the board when it comes to mode, chi, and HP. So it's just a really, really good passive ability that requires you to do nothing besides press F every like 10 seconds. And also the actual other abilities of Snail can be useful in their own ways, because they actually, all of the abilities to heal pretty much besides the weapon spec. The weapon spec just summons the Gary Slug, and then you lose your ranged erased block M1s. Most people mostly never use the weapon spec. They kind of just stick to using the throwable, because that is honestly like the best part of this mode. Just free HP regen, free chi regen, free mode regen is absolutely amazing. But other guys, what is your favorite mode awakening in Shindo Life? From the comments below, we'll be checking them out. And the coming in 1st place, as a surprise, the absolutely nobody is going to be the Gen 3 Tailed Spirits. Now, I'm going to be grouping these all together because it's kind of stupid to, you know, do them in their own placements if in this tier list, because they would all just be above the rest of them. There would only be like 2 of them that are below like the top 3. So there's no point in, you know, making them different. I'm just going to be grouping them all into 1st place, and I'll be showing you guys the Happy Spirit specifically, which is ranked number 2 on my actual, you know, Gen 3 tier list. Now, Happy does slap some cheeks together. The actual weapon spec of Happy is I'm pretty sure is the longest stunning weapon spec of all of the Gen 3s, because of the after effect at the end of it does make it launch up in the air. The actual summon also has a really, really good, you know, stun attack as well. It's not as good as the other, you know, the newest Gen 3, because that stun range is a lot more than Happy's, but it's still pretty good when it comes to Happy. The actual raised block of all the Gen 3s are also insanely high. For some of them, it gets like ludicrously high. Like, it becomes so high that it just doesn't really make sense actually. But the actual throwables of all the Gen 3s are the exact same. They're all just basic counter abilities. Now, the Z specs are slightly different with all the Gen 3s. With Happy, it's just the basic magma effect that does allow you to extend off of it. The newest Gen 3 has the best Z spec. It's literally just like the magma effect, but better. So, I mean, like, all the Gen 3s are honestly pretty good. There's just a few of them that are absolutely just like game breaking, and I'm showing you guys one of them right now. I mean, like, Happy Spirit, pretty cool, pretty good looking as well. Anyways, guys, for this video, if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, guys. Bye bye.